got divorced young, and then that's when I decided that I wanted to really ruin my life, I guess. I hate that it got to that point that I had to go to prison in order to change my life, but honestly, it was a positive thing for me. It definitely...
For me, I'm kind of glad I got the longer federal prison sentence because I think that it shook me, I think. Welcome to the Living Louder podcast. Today, I have a friend that I met in prison, and she's in Utah, and I said, you got to come over and be on the podcast. So we're just going to talk about our experiences, and we'll hear more about Meredith Fossey. She's amazing, really strong. So the way that Meredith and I met, I was at Waseca. I'd been down means you've been in prison for about a year. And then Meredith, you had been in Victorville, right?
Well, I started in Victorville, and then I wanted to do the ARDAP program.
So that's what brought you to Waseca.
They sent me to Phoenix, and then Phoenix was overcrowded, so I got sent to Waseca. So I had been down for about almost 2 years when I got to Waseca.
Okay. People always ask these questions. By the way, welcome. Thanks for coming on the podcast. We'll get to that. But they always think, why do they ship everyone around? And part of that is programming, right? Mm-hmm. Like you want to go to a different program. So how long was your sentence in federal prison?
60 months.
Okay. 60 months is 4 years? 5 years? 5 years. You got a 5-year sentence. And had you been to prison before, or was it your first trip?
It was my first trip.
Yeah. Was it overwhelming?
At first, yes. It was, it was overwhelming, really, to be honest with you. It was overwhelming the whole time. Mm-hmm. Bouncing from different prisons was hard too, because I got comfortable in Victorville. Victorville was a really decent prison for females.
Right. It's a big complex. So they have multiple, I think people get confused by that too. You were at the low security, but they had a couple of men's FCI, which is higher security. And then they had the USP, which is super high security, gun towers. And so we worked, the lower security, we worked all over. We had a lot of freedom because I ended up going there at the end of my sentence. So you were at a camp and then you moved up to a higher security prison.
Without getting in any trouble too. So yes, I started out not being behind the fence, and then I ended up being behind the fence. So... And I didn't get in trouble with just the overcrowding. Waseca was a decent prison as well, though. I did not like Phoenix at all.
I heard Phoenix isn't great, but I really like Waseca, Minnesota. Shout out to all the officers that check us out, because Waseca, I just felt like the officers did a good job. Well, I was at Dublin, which got shut down.
Right.
And so that was a little crazy, even though I had some officers there that I really liked, but it was a lot different. Waseca was a well-run prison, in my opinion. So.
Yeah. It was, as far as the officers go, all the places I was at, they all, I didn't have any issues with any of them. They all treated us, or treated me at least, I was a person. I mean, when something was going on, something went down, a fight or whatever, you knew what your place was at that point. But they were all really respectful to us. I felt even joking with us at times. So
yeah, I felt like the same way. I didn't have any problems that way. But so tell me a little bit, because I don't even know if I know. We were in ARDAP together. And so for you that don't know what ARDAP is, it's called the Residential Drug and Alcohol Program. You get a year off your prison sentence. It's no joke. The program's pretty tough. I actually opted out of the program. When they put me in the first time, I kind of flipped out and said, no, I do not want to be in this program, which is so foolish. But I felt like I do not want to go in and drink the Kool-Aid that the government wants us to drink, but then I went all in when I got into the program. And you were a leader in the program when I came in. But we even met before that, because when you got on the compound at Waseca, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You'd also been a baptized member, and I couldn't go to church service because I was the only member. I actually talked Macy into going with me, just so that there were two, so that they would let it wasn't the volunteers, it was the prison that said there has to be 2 people in order to let volunteers in.
Right.
And then when you came, I was like, will you please go to church with me? And you're like, yes, I totally will. So we went to church together. Go back and share more about your childhood, and because I don't know if I know it.
So you missed that, because when I was a phase ahead in front of you in ARDAP. But so growing up, I grew up in Wyoming, Green River, Wyoming. I have 5 brothers and 2 sisters. We were raised LDS. My parents weren't active. They stopped going to church when I was around 4. So I missed out. Growing up, I missed out on a lot of the stories and the
just
lessons
being in
and
the
stuff.
primary and kind of understand. Yeah.
But I grew up with the LDS values. And then I guess in my teenage years, I decided I wanted to be a rebel, and I started getting in trouble. Just part of it was hanging out with people from the wrong crowd, and I can't even say it's their fault because at times I was the wrong crowd for people to hang out with,
Right.
And then I got pregnant super young when I was 17. The two best things that's ever happened to me in my life is honestly my kids. But anyway, I got divorced young, and then that's when I decided that I wanted to really ruin my life, I guess.
Yeah.
I got into drugs, and all through my 20s, I was high, and halfway through my 30s.
Will you go get us a paper towel just in there for Mama? Your daughter's here with you. It's just so beautiful. Yeah.
Anyway, so I was being stupid and thought I had to be a kingpin or something, and got caught at age 34. And so, and then that's when I got sentenced to federal prison. And at that time, honestly, prison for me, I hate that it got to that point that I had to go to prison in order to change my life. But honestly, it was a positive thing for me. It definitely is something that I needed. More than anything, I probably needed treatment. And because I was never offered treatment prior to that, and I really I had gotten in trouble a couple of times prior, but I wasn't a felon or anything. And so my first felony became a federal felony. But
So do you think treatment would have worked? Because like I talked to Macy about it, and I've thought about it, and I have mixed feelings on that. Like for me, I'm kind of glad I got the longer federal prison sentence because I think that it like shook me. I think it shook me, and it was so painful. Walking through that pain was really refining. But I also wonder, like they have programs like the Other Side Academy where you go for 2 years and it's kind of a therapeutic community type living. Would that have been sufficient? Like for you?
I don't know. I think that, I really don't know. I can't say. I'm glad that like I had the couple of years prior to going to treatment where I was sober, and because when I got into ARDAP, like the people that had been in it prior to me told me, don't tell them, make sure you tell them as little as possible, because the more you tell them, the more they're going to make you, the more things they're going to make you do. And my mindset was like, no, I'm telling them everything.
Yeah.
Because I walked in there with the mindset of clearly the way I'm doing things is not working. And so I was open and willing to try whatever they asked of me, because I didn't want to get out and be the same person anymore. And so I told my DTS as much as I possibly could, and the majority of my the things that she assigned for me to do were things that had to do with my kids, because I had so much guilt and shame over not being the mother that I should have been.
I think there's no pain greater than that. That's the pain we all shared, and it's different for women. And I have a lot of compassion for women that hurt their children, because I'm one of them, and I know how deep that pain is. And that's something that we connected. All of us as women, we felt so deeply. And I remember for you especially, like the letters and the things that you wrote and shared, your pain was very deep over the pain that you felt because of the pain you caused your kids. So when you were in prison, do you feel like, you started at 17 having your first child, right? So you're young. Do you feel like you kind of grew up in prison? Like it was your chance to kind of get on solid ground and get through those?
Yeah, I really think that I found myself like who Meredith was. I do think that I do think I grew up. I think that the immature thoughts and just the way that my mind, the selfish Meredith kind of faded out. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, like prison definitely helped me way more than it hurt me. Yeah. It was horrible being away and not having control over anything.
Yeah.
I know that like while I was in there watching some of the other women that had problems with their kids were out there doing the same things that we had been doing, Right. I felt super blessed that my kids were not following in the same path, because so many women had that, and I can't imagine.
Well, there were women, like at least in California when I was there, that were in prison with their kids.
Right.
Like that would be so devistating to me. So devastating.
And I can't imagine being in prison and your children following the same path, and just because you don't have any control over anything in there. Like you literally just have to go with the flow and like let it be. You can't, there's nothing you can do to change anything. It's not like you can make phone calls and.
No, but you can do one thing, and that's change yourself, which is the most powerful thing you can do. And I think when we chose to take accountability for our part, we kind of broke that cycle. At least for me, like my kids were pretty mad and felt like the government had done me dirty. And when I got honest and said, I did this to us, it allowed my children to heal instead of thinking that they'd been treated unfairly. Because a lot of kids grow up with that criminal code, right? It's us against them. And so by owning it and taking ownership of it, I think that's the one thing. It's one of the most important things we can do for our kids is get ourselves healthy while we're in prison. And you were big time doing that.
Yeah.
It's not easy though.
I drank that Kool-Aid.
You drank that Kool-Aid. I did too. It took me a while. I was so stubborn. Well, it's funny because when you were in ARDAP and you're a leader and you have a strong personality, you're a get it done kind of girl, right? And I remember, you probably don't even remember this, but I came into the program, you feel like a little kid. You come in and you got your big sisters and people that are kind of running things in the unit. And I had a little hair barrette, and I was growing my hair out, so I loved that hair barrette, but it was against the rules to have something like that. I came over and confessed, our cat is roaming around in the studio. That's why you see the shadow, but big shadows everywhere. It's fine. But anyway, I had this little barrette, and I remember coming to you, and I said, Meredith, I've been wearing this barrette, and it's against the rules. I go, do you think I need to pull myself up? And you're like, I don't know. Is it something that you feel that is important for you to do? Give me the barrette louder. It was the hardest thing for me because it's like hard to get things like that, right? Like a little extra scrunchie for your hair because they don't sell them on commissary. So
I don't remember that, but that sounds like me.
Yeah, I know. But then later in the program, I will never forget, like you had that pair of green shorts, which are really hard to get. Like I try to explain to people, even though you wear the same clothes because we're all wearing khaki, right? And in a way for me, I really got to where I liked that simplicity of it. Like we're all wearing the same thing. It's really simple. I don't have to worry about that stuff. But an older pair of green sweats or green pair of shorts, those will sell for top dollar.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, because nobody else has them and you can only buy grays now. And so that stuff's 20 years old and people take really good care of it. So you had a pair of green shorts and you'd graduated the program and I was a leader in the program and I was just physically sick because I loved you to call you out. Yep. And you're like, calm down and just call me out. It's fine. But I was so stressed about it.
I remember standing up there and you were crying. And I was like, Portia, it's okay. I'm the one who messed up.
Yeah.
Pull me up. It's fine. It's okay. You're like, I know you messed up.
It's so hard to hold people accountable. And it's so important. Like that's the strength we gain and the boundaries. But when I first went into that program and I would watch people up at the front of the room calling each other out, I thought, this is nuts. Like, this is crazy. You're creating conflict in prison, and these officers leave at the end of the day, and we're stuck here with each other. And it's not like...
It really depended on, like, the group of people, too. Like, my phase, the people that were in my phase, we all had, like, a weird unspoken understanding that... it was part of the program. And so if we pulled each other up, we weren't going to carry it on later on, outside of that. Like, you messed up, you're getting pulled up. And that was something that I wanted everybody to understand with me. I didn't care who it was. If I saw you doing something, I wasn't going to hesitate. Everybody knew not to do anything for me because I would pull them up. Right. And so and I think that, like, I left not long after I graduated, so I don't know how your program went towards the end.
I became crazy. I was a leader in that program. People used to come talk to Macy and say, stop her. Why is she doing that? She's nuts.
I'm thankful for that program.
Me too.
Honestly, that was a gift from the government.
Yeah.
I truly feel that way. I remember when I first entered the program, I really felt very uneducated. Because I didn't even understand what half the words meant that they used, mollification, like that's not even a word. Really, you can't even look up that word and actually see what it actually means. But I understand I know what it means. Yeah. That program definitely, it educated me. I understood. I had the education, the knowledge on being an addict because I was an addict, but understanding like what that actually meant from like a professional point of view. And I remember many times while I was in there, like feeling super blessed that it was amazing to me because they know so much about addiction. They know so much. And just knowing that so much money and time had been spent on through the government trying to learn about addiction and being at a point like where I was in addiction and that all that money and time had been spent to understand it to where they could help me. And so I felt super blessed that I entered the program at a time when they did have an understanding and where I could learn and help myself later on. Yeah. I kept my books and stuff though, my journals, and I still have them. I still pull them out every once in a while and look through them. I'm like, man, I was dumb when I was writing this stuff down. Like it seemed like such a big deal then, and it was. Mm-hmm. But I kept all that stuff. I watched a bunch of people throw theirs away, and I was like, all that work. Why would you do that?
Yeah, you were just so ready and wanted help.
I was ready. I definitely was. So that's why back to your question, I don't know if they would have just had me go to treatment, if that would have helped me, or if I needed the combination of the prison time plus the treatment. But I definitely, no matter what, I needed the treatment, because without that additional knowledge, I don't know if I would have been successful when I got out.
Yeah, for sure. I remember I just didn't want to go into a government program. Like I had a different feeling about the government. Like I felt frustrated, and but I wanted the year off. And so I had opted out. They put me in the program, I opted out. And then a year later, because I still was in denial, and I thought, I'm going to get an appeal. I'm going to get out of here. Yeah. One of those people, right? Everybody has to go through that phase. But for me, I was still fighting, and, and so when I finally it took me another year to calm down, and I did a lot of reading and I just felt like I could do it on my own. And that's one of my strengths and weaknesses. I'm very determined, but also I really struggle asking for help. And I was like, and if I want help, it's not coming from the government. They're the ones that put me here. I was that kind of stubborn. But I remember going to the ARDAP therapist. They had made me come back and ask to get into the program. And they said, why should we let you in here? You already opted out. We gave you the opportunity. And my judge had ordered it, which meant that I had the right to get it. It's a year off your prison sentence. And I said, because I want the time off. And Miss Brosh goes, that's not getting you in the program. There's people that need it. And I said, because I'm really stubborn, I dragged my whole investigation out and got the maximum sentence because I couldn't take ownership. And she goes, that will get you in the program. You know enough about yourself to know you need help,
Was Miss Brosh your DTS, or was Miss Curry?
No, I actually had, now I don't even remember his name. Who was
Wardeman.
Wardeman. Yeah, but I liked them all. I really probably respected, to be honest, sorry about this, Wardeman, but Miss Brosh the most. I felt like she had this wisdom in her and strength that I really admired, and I listened. Like, I'm a learner by observing, and I was in a process group with Brosh. I did process with her, and I remember her telling me, if you want to be successful in life, you're going to have to, I said, I'm not going to pull anybody else up. I will hold myself accountable, but I'm not here trying to hold anyone else accountable. And she goes, okay, well, that's your choice. She said, but I'll tell you this, Louder, if you want to be successful in life, and you've told me you want to be an amazing person, you'll never have that unless you learn how to set a boundary.
Right.
And I remember looking at all the people in my group, and I said, I'm coming for all of you. All of you, be prepared. I care about you, but I care more about myself. And that's really what it was. Like, I don't want to hurt any of y'all. And then I learned that caring about someone is holding them accountable.
Some of the things that Miss Brosh, I agree with Miss Brosh, was very
wise.
She was so good. Like, some of the things that her and Miss Curry would pull out of nowhere, out of thin air, like, there was no book that they were going by.
They just had a lot of experience working in corrections, which is now what I do. And I think I learned so much from them. And I'm really grateful.
I mean, there was one, we were in, what was it when it was called, when we were all together?
Oh, morning meeting.
Nope, it was after that. When I was on Mondays and Fridays, where all of us were together. Well, some of us would go to process, but most of us were all.
I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, we were in that group, and there was, I can't remember the woman's name, but I remember what she had her do. She took 3 pieces of paper, and on one she wrote past, on another one she wrote present, and the other one she wrote future. And she kept like trying to get this lady to like step forward to the present, and because she was stuck, she would not, whatever, everything that she was asking her, she was staying on the past, and she would not step forward to the present. And that was one of the most eye-opening things. And it wasn't even me that was up there, but because they didn't want us to live in the future, and they didn't want us to live in the past. They wanted us to step foot into that present and deal with what was going on right then.
Right.
But Ms. Curry was my DTS, and I feel blessed that I had her.
She's had a lot of experience.
Yeah, and then I was also her aide while I was in the program, and so I feel like I got extra therapy because I was in her office for every day for an hour or 2 hours, awesome. Doing stuff for her. And so I definitely, ARDAP was great. One of the best things that ever happened to me in my entire life, for real. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like I learned things I've been waiting my whole life to learn.
Me too.
So, and it's not, I mean, I did not go in there drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, I did not go in there thinking I wanted to be in there, But once I embraced that, it really changed my whole view. And it's given me skills that I use today working with people and as a recovery coach. So I'm so grateful for that. But this is tough. And
It is a hard program. It truly is.
Yeah, it's a hard program. You get a year off your prison sentence. But I felt like once I had done art, it was really hard for me actually to go to the camp after doing ARDAP because everyone acts a fool at the camp.
Yeah, they do.
I'm like, you don't know how to respect each other and how to, like, no boundaries, no communication skills. And I learned all that in ARDAP, and it was like, yeah, they're not.
No, I didn't. I experienced the camp first.
So you went from low security to high security. I went from high to low.
Well, usually you don't go to high security unless you got in trouble, but.
Right. I was in trouble before I walked in the door. Everybody's like, why did they put you, white collar, in high security? I go, they management me. They threw a nice little management variable to throw me in high security because I was stubborn.
But Waseca was probably, Victorville was a great prison. I like I said, I had the best job there, hands down, the best job. I was, so to go from that to Phoenix, which was a huge change, and then Waseca offered the most.
They had a lot of programs.
They offered the best. Yeah, if I would have done my time there, I would have been able to do a lot more. But I signed up for, if there was a class, it didn't matter what it was. If there was any kind of class, I signed up for it. Yeah. I kept myself busy. And if you want to, you can keep yourself busy. And so my thought process, I guess, is when I hear about people going to prison and they come out and there's no difference, it's like they wasted their time in there because I do feel like the government they do have it set up to where they are trying to rehabilitate us. Maybe, other people probably disagree, but I do feel like they do try to rehabilitate us. They do try to teach us that we have to have a job. They try to teach us to have a routine.
Life skills, yeah.
And people that come out and they're still the same, it's because they didn't apply themselves. And maybe they weren't ready, but I definitely was, so...
Yeah. And what I learned too is that we're all coming from such different walks of life. Like you did not grow up with parents who were both incarcerated, and neither did I. So if I'd have grown up with parents that were incarcerated and all my siblings were incarcerated and I was in detention, but from the time I was a teenager and in and out of foster care, prison would probably feel like home to me too.
Yeah.
And so the fact that people in those situations make it out, they may need 11 times in prison. They may need to keep going in and out, and it's a slower process.
And then to get out and still have the same...
same circumstances. They're going back to the same stuff.
Yeah, I didn't get out and have my parents that were still
drugs.
Right.
Yeah,
and so I never considered that in my equation of.
Because you figure there's people that make it out. We have a lot better chance of not going back when we have supportive family. We go back to good situations, right? It's a lot harder for those that don't.
Yeah.
I work with people every day that leave prison that don't have an address to go to. They stay at the halfway house because they have nowhere to go. Some of them go to a shelter. Like they literally go. We have one right now, a client I got a guy that's in a shelter. He's got 2 kids. He's a single parent. He has no family to help him. He's Native. He grew up on a reservation. He's trying to get in our program. He's required to be in a program or he'll have to go back to prison. The odds are so stacked against him. I'm just like, I can't even imagine the barriers that people have to face.
So when I got out, I was only in the halfway house for a couple of months, and they loved me in there. I got a job within the first 9 days. I took the first job that it offered. Was willing to hire me.
Any job.
Because
right?
My last 3 months, I'm sure it's common for everybody. Like my last 3 months there, after I graduated from ARDAP, I still had 3 months. The biggest stress was if I was going to be able to find employment because I was a felon. Yeah. And then if that employment, if I did find a job, if I was going to be able to support myself financially. And my first job, I was a housekeeper. Some very honest, that's honest, hard work. I hurt in places that I didn't even know I had muscles to hurt. But and then I had a job. I became the supervisor in an industrial paint shop. And so the majority of the people that I employed were residents at the halfway house. Yeah. So I was on a whole different, I was still on probation myself, but I dealt with the halfway house. I called people out to come to work, and so that was something super cool to be able to witness. It's like a priceless gift, really, to watch, because when they come in for their interview, they're nervous, right? And I know how it feels because I'd been there. And so after they were done with their interview, I would tell them, hey, I've been to prison, and I would see like a huge sigh of relief because they knew that I understood. But watching them, because a lot of people, they've never had an honest job before,
right?
And a real legit job, and so watching them gain skills, like learn how to do something, and watching somebody's pride grow like that. And then I always like to watch them open their first paycheck, just because their first honest paycheck. They would always get super excited. I don't do that anymore. I have a different job now, but so I don't get to see that. But that was something that was super cool when I got out that I got to be a part of.
That's amazing. Yeah. I love that. I feel like you said some things. Sorry. No, you're totally good. I thought Chad came in, and I'm like, that's so weird. We like Chad. We'll let Chad come in.
Chad, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, do you have anything you want to say? So I feel like when I was in prison, it was kind of scary. I mean, I was 43 when I went to prison, and so I didn't know what my life would look like. I was a photographer before I went to prison. I was a real estate investor. I knew that wasn't going to happen again. And yeah, that's not going to happen. It's kind of like being a drug dealer. I'm not going to be a drug dealer again. I knew that wasn't going to happen again. And I didn't. Before I went to prison, like I just had been, I guess you could say I'd had some success in business. All of a sudden I'm a felon. And what I decided was I know I'm a hard worker, and I know that if I can have integrity and really focus on my character, the world it'll work itself out. So when I got home, I took the any job thing. I actually went and got a job at a homeless shelter, and then the halfway house said, you're not making enough money. So I went because I didn't care about the money. I just wanted to go work with that population. Then I went to work as a photographer, and then I got a job in drug treatment. And but I'm a hard worker, and it just keeps showing up, and then my pay has increased over time. But I took a job for, $13 an hour in drug treatment, and then they paid me more because I was worth more. And so a lot of people say, well, I can't get a job, You can get a job. It might be at McDonald's, it might be once you get that job and you do a really good job at that, like I trust me that wherever I go, I'll work hard. I feel like you were that person.
I am that person. I know, like I'm a natural leader.
Right.
Like I have that. I accepted that finally. Like it took me until I was way in my adult life to realize that, okay, I actually have that ability. Like it's not something that's learned. Like it's something that I was born with. Like I was, yeah. So I always have, like I start at the bottom and I always climb to the top pretty quick, and without even trying, it just, because I'm bossy, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'll do the dirty work too. It doesn't matter, the worst job that nobody wants to do, I'll be the first one to go over there and do it. Yeah. It's like, it's going to get done.
You lead by example.
Yeah. And so I'm in a position where I'm at now. I'm a site manager. And so, and actually, right now, I live in Alabama. I'm bouncing around. We opened 2 other sites, and so I've been bouncing around from 3 different sites. Currently, I'm managing 2 different sites, and
wow.
I mean, both of them have stuff going on, and so and they're not. It's not like they're right there next to each other. They're 96 miles apart, and
wow.
so yeah, like I know I'm capable of so much, and I don't know. I feel super blessed that I'm at where I'm at in my life.
Right, I love that. What's it been like to come home and rebuild relationships with your kids and your family?
So in prison, one of my concerns was where my place was going to be with my family, because I've been gone, and life, just because time stopped for me, it didn't stop for them. Life carried on. I'm not as close to my siblings as I used to be, and that weighs heavy on me. Some of them I probably didn't need to be close to, but that weighs heavily on me. But more important, my kids, the relationship that I have with my kids, I don't talk to them as often as I should. But
life is so busy. Right?
But we do. I mean, I do have a relationship with them, and that's something that prior to prison I really didn't have. And my daughter's been a little bit tougher.
She's here today.
She was a little.
The girls are like that. My girls, it takes time.
She wasn't as open to forgiving. I mean, I hurt her, and so so with her, it's been a little bit tougher. But I deserved that, though. Like I had to earn that. I had to earn that trust back, and it's been rewarding, though. I mean, like my kids, to me, and I know every parent feels this. My kids are perfect. Like they really are. They're such. I couldn't ask for better kids.
Yeah.
Both of them have, they finished school. Both of them finished college. My daughter, she's in her first year of teaching. It's
amazing.
She's giving back to the world, she has so much to offer. I love his wife. My daughter is going to get married soon. I love the man she's going to marry. And I'm content. I'm okay. I wish I was closer to both of them, because Anna, my daughter, she lives here in Utah. And then my son lives in Texas. So I wish I was closer, distance wise, but
you don't have grandkids yet.
Listen, I'm just telling you. I'm going to be honest with you. My kids are creeps, and they won't let me have grandkids yet.
The most amazing thing of the world is grandkids.
Everybody has grandkids, but me.
It gets really cool when they.
Kids are very young.
Yeah, that's true. They'll have them. My son, my 36-year-old son, had his first like a few years ago. They do it different than us. We start at 17. It's like it skips a generation.
My kids are being smart about it. I want them to be irresponsible one time in their life.
It's the neatest
I'm
thing.
all, oh, you want to graduate from college? Ooh.
I love
No, they've been very smart. Because they lost their dad when they were young, and then their dad's mom raised them, and they were super blessed to have her. Her and I haven't always seen eye to eye, but what she did for my kids is priceless. Yes, yeah. I would owe her for the rest of my life. So no matter what, I could never repay. So they were blessed to have her. Yeah. My kids, because of that, they didn't have to have. They had a better life than. Yeah. A lot of other kids that were in the same situation. Right. But they wouldn't have turned out like they did had I raised them. I know they wouldn't have. I would have ruined them.
You wouldn't have.
I probably would have, but they're pretty amazing kids.
Yeah. Oh, that I can relate. And it takes time. It takes time. That restoration and healing takes time, I feel like the most important thing, I should have just had your daughter jump in here, but we'll do that another time. I feel like the most important thing, well, I could have you jump in. Do you want to jump in? No, she's not ready. The most important thing is and this is what my kids have said, they just want us to be okay. They just want us to be okay. Like that's the hardest thing for kids, in my opinion, is having their mom, as an addict out there watching. It's like heartbreaking for them. And it takes time for that healing to take place. So
I've definitely had some struggles. Not with addiction.
Relationships
for me.
Oh,
yep.
Man. It's a cool thing.
I went through some and I lost myself for a while. Actually moving to Alabama was not what I wanted to do. But in all honesty, even though I'm so far away from everybody, it was what I needed at that time. And it was in a way through the company. It was kind of a forced move. I didn't want to move there, but they wanted me in management. And so, like I said, it was a blessing in disguise. I definitely was able to, I was forced being down there because I was away, there wasn't anybody around. I don't know anybody. And I'm not really an outgoing person. I know that seems odd, but I'm really not. Like if I'm comfortable where I'm at, then I'm myself. But if I'm in a place where I'm not used to and I don't know the people around, I'm an introvert. Mm-hmm. And so I was really forced to like focus on myself and worry about myself. And so I've definitely been able to find myself again. But
well, do you think relationships? To me, I think they might be a bigger addiction than drugs for women.
Probably. And so it was a real fight for me, and I tried to use. So I spent most of my time in ARDAP I used that time to try to heal from like the shame of being a bad mom, where I wish I would have had a little bit longer in there where I could have focused some on like the relationships and how I failed them.
Well, the codependency is just such a...
But that was rough. And then my oldest brother, my oldest brother went to prison. He's in there for the rest of his life. He, in a drunken stage, killed his wife. Oh. And so, he lived in Casper. I actually lived at his house for a few months when I was still part of the halfway house, but I was on home confinement. And so that was
devastating.
Yeah, that was a really hard time to go through that. And then my own personal relationships with guys like that. I do better. I do so well by myself. I do. I am fantastic by myself. I learned at a young age that I didn't need a man to take care of me. And so, but it's something that I want. I want to have like an everyday life with somebody where I do everyday life, where we go grocery shopping, where we pay bills. I want that. But I don't know if that's what's supposed to be for me, if that's what my life is supposed to be like or not.
Are you attracted to the bad guys, kind of?
In the past, yeah. And I don't know. I think part of that had to do with my self-worth, how I felt about myself. Like I didn't deserve better than that. And I'm also like a nurturer. And so I'm attracted to somebody that needs my help, that needs me. Right. And that always turns out bad. And so I've recognized that now. And so if there's somebody that's like needed something, I'm like, I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm not helping you with anything. Get away from me.
Yeah. Good. Sounds like you've learned some things like we all do the hard way, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Are you in touch with your brother who's in prison at all?
He hasn't called me for a while, but he's in state prison. So I know that he's only allowed to have like so many people on his call list and stuff. Yeah.
But what a devastating thing. Did they have children?
He had children from before, she had children from before, and then they had one child together.
How has that affected your parents?
I'm sure it's
really difficult.
Yeah.
Wow. So what would you tell someone who is facing prison? Like, when you found out you were going to prison, were you mad? Were you scared? Were you upset? Like, how did it?
No, I knew months before that. I knew it was coming. I used to tell people I was going to go to federal prison, and they would be like, "You're crazy, quit saying that." I'm like, "Well, it's a fact. Like, what I'm doing is a federal offense. Like, I know I'm going to go."
Were you drug dealing? Is that what
I was bringing drugs over state lines, yeah.
Okay.
And so it was something that I knew. But for me at that time, like, I wasn't just fighting like my addiction to drugs. I was addicted to selling too. And
that's a huge addiction.
Yeah.
The hustle of drug dealing is probably a bigger addiction than using drugs.
Yeah. And so, I wanted to get out. I did. And so really when I got caught, it was a relief. Yeah. As crazy as that sounds, no. It truly was a relief because there was no more hiding, trying to it was like I had two faces, there was no more hiding from it. And it was time for me to face it. Yep. So, but what would I tell somebody? When I got caught, I had a different mindset than the majority of the people that get caught. I didn't blame the government. I didn't blame the police. Like, my thought process has always been, if I wouldn't have been breaking the law, they wouldn't have been following me. And so anybody that like told on me, like, I don't hold a grudge against them. Like, they probably saved my life. But drink the Kool-Aid. Man, like, literally drink the Kool-Aid.
Like, we might call this episode "Drink the Kool-Aid."
Try to go in and because the way they're doing things isn't working. They're going to prison, so it failed them. So trust the process. I hate to say that because we heard it so much in prison. Trust the process. But it worked for me. Yeah. It did. It definitely did. But I was ready.
I love that. So good to see you on this side. We haven't seen each other for like 8 years or something. Long time. It's really good to see you. I'm so happy that your life is where it is, And I think people often think that everyone just goes back. No, not everyone goes back. You didn't go back.
The rate is high, but
we make it out. And when we make it out, like, my opinion is some of the people I met in prison are the most hardworking, loyal, trustworthy. Like, I would trust them. A lot of people in prison were smart.
Yeah.
Just hadn't had opportunities. So I'm like, give people a chance, man. You will not be disappointed. They will work hard and be grateful for the opportunity. Not everyone. You're going to have some people that it doesn't work out. So you have to have boundaries as employers and other people. But anything else you want to share on the Living Louder podcast?
I think that's it, Portia. I'm glad to see you too. It's nice to see some people that I was with just to kind of give me a little refresher,
Yeah, so cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time on the Living Louder podcast.